Hi everyone, it is time to finish this cute little page from the Colouring Heaven Halloween magazine. This one by Agotapop, the second page of the magazine, page 2. So we have our sort of most of it done really, but we have a few elements to finish, and then I'm thinking about background. Not sure yet, haven't completely made up my mind whether I'm going to do one or not. We'll see. It'll be a surprise to us all. The first thing I'm going to do is this little piece here. Let me come in closer. We're using Marco Raffine pencils, by the way. Oh, are we still in shot? Not really. Maybe I'll come in closer and move the book around a little bit. It might be easy for you to see. There we go. So we've got, so it's our sort of little bookmark, and I'm thinking, shall I do it silver to match in with the words here? And I think I probably will. So I'm going to grab the silver pencil, whoops, which doesn't want to come out of the box. It's 572, the tray, I should say. I don't have the box. They were gifted to me in a tin, which was rather useful. I think because they come in a box, I'm suspecting the box is possibly it's going to eventually fall apart, isn't it? We're going to work around in a clockwise direction, I think. So we've got these letters with little spiders. Now the spiders, I know people aren't keen, so I'm not going to dwell too long on the spiders, but I'm thinking I might do them in the 569 rather than the black. This is more like a sort of charcoaly grey, just so it's a little bit different. I'm going to sharpen it though, because they are very teeny tiny. It might be hard for you to see, but there is actually, they do have a little head and body. So I'm going to try and make them a little bit darker on the outside of the body, a bit lighter in the middle. If you're not a fan, you might just want to colour them in as quickly as you can. I don't blame you. I'm colouring a page at the moment. There's a snake on it. Later, it's actually an Agotapop page from the Tiny Year, and now we have 2 letters, so I've got to be brave. Now I'm thinking, I've just realised we've got a bit of leaf here that I've missed. I wonder how many of you noticed that. I wonder what colour I did the leaves. Just wind the video back and check. I'm going to guess that I used the 550. I'm just going to do it now because I might forget. Like that. It's a bit pale, that one, isn't it? We'd probably use something darker here. I think we might have used the 550 on the tip. Just randomly colouring it in a bit more. Let me look at the swatchy chart. I'm going to put a little tiny bit of 546 on there, hoping that's the colour I used. Like that. Ooh, it doesn't want to show up very well. No, it's not. Anyway, there we go. I'm just going to just hastily move along. Now we have 2 envelopes. Now, envelopes tend to be white, but these, you know, colouring these white would be quite dull. I'm not sure what sort of letter our witch is receiving or anything like that. I'm thinking, let's just think about Halloween colours and do something there. So I'm thinking purples, pinks, oranges, reds, that sort of thing. What should we do? I've just realised also I haven't coloured this bit of the book. There. I know what colour I use for that though. I use this sort of 529, I think. So I'm just going to do that. There we go. I was just looking for colour ideas and I just spotted that. Right, I think I'm going to do a delicate pink, maybe, like a hair. But I think, should we use the 513? We haven't used that, I don't think. It is a bit more bright. So we use 513 for the envelope here. Sorry about that blur. I'm not going to press too hard, so I'm holding my pencil quite a long way. You can see how far up I'm holding it. I find it easy to get a lighter colour if I do that and just do a sort of general back and forth. I'm not going to do any burnishing or anything. I'm just going to keep it pale. And it will match her dress and her hair, so it will look sort of semi-Halloweeny without being too dark. The other one, I think I'm going to do in a mauve or sort of light purpley colour. I could do 526, 521. Let's do 526. If I can find it, here it is. Can't remember which colours I've used already, so we're just having a go. Now, I'm sure I would have said in the first video, but just in case I didn't, the swatch chart for this is available on my Ko-fi for free. You can grab it. I've already put it up there. If you want any comparison charts with other brands, let me know. Now, some of you have already asked me for some for the Woomer pencils, which are the new ones that I reviewed recently. Unfortunately, at the moment, I don't have the full set because I was given a duplicate pencil and I'm missing one. So I'm slightly reluctant to do, I'm going to use this really dark pinky purple 525 for the stamp. Yeah, I'm slightly reluctant to do any sort of swatching because there'll be a gap, which I don't think is necessarily very helpful. So I'm hoping that when I hear back from my contact in China, there's a possibility they might be able to send me the missing pencil and then I can just get on with doing that. But China, it's got to come from China, which means it's not only going to take its time, it might just be something they can't practically do. So I've got to wait and see. So I'm using 560, which is like a reddy orangey brown for my first book. I sort of want my books to be darkish but Halloweeny in colour. I can't do the end of that one. I must have gone over it with the green. There we go. I'm trying to make the edges a bit darker than the middle. It's quite tricky with them being so small. This bit will be a bit easier. It's a much bigger area. I was going to tell you as well that I have just made my monthly charity donation. I actually tried to give to this charity last month and I couldn't get it to work. You know, you sort of give online type thing. I couldn't get it to work. I don't know what was wrong with it, but anyway. So this month I decided to give to them. I decided to do twice, two months worth of money because they've 571. Although we haven't specifically used what they're fundraising for, we've used similar services, so I just felt I wanted to give to them. Basically, they are a charity that raises money for the local hospital, and they're building a new oncology unit. They're fundraising for equipment. I'm going to do a really dark purple book here. 528, yeah, 528, and also for the neonatal unit and various other things. So basically they pay for things that the hospital doesn't get funding for from the government. And although we've been using hospital facilities, GPs, physiotherapy, all sorts of things like that lately, various reasons, and nothing nasty, just, you know, health, you know. And so I felt that it was nice to give back to the hospital in a way that, you know, helps people who need the service, that sort of thing. And what I'd love to do is give them, you know, pay some wages or something, but the charity doesn't do that. The government do that. This is 572. This is a silver. See, I'm going to do all these bits on the books in gold and silver like I did on the big books. I think it just sort of matches. You don't have to do it the same way as me, but I just think it sort of continues the theme through. And gold and silver quite nice on a Halloweeny page, I think. Yeah. I'm just going to keep those pencils out separately. Now this one, we've got a line here as if we've got a couple of colours. I like to do green books, but I think we're not, because we've got so many green leaves. So I'm thinking maybe here we could go for, we've got blue. Maybe we could go for blue or, not a brown, because we've got so much brown. Yeah, let's go for a blue. Oh, but will our ink bottle be blue? Yeah, our ink bottle will be blue. I do want to do a green. I am going to do a green. I'm going to do 545, really dark, bluey green. I'm hoping it will look okay. Here we go, 545. You can choose whatever colour you want. So lighten towards the centre. I'm going to do all the books in the same way, hoping that they look a little bit more curved in shape. Now the bottom bit, I know what I'm going to do. Now, which colour, silver or gold, going with this colour? I'm thinking silver goes better. And what I'm going to do, I'm just stopping there for a moment to grab the silver, 572. I'm going to do this bit here. I'm going to do a little bit in there. But then I'm going to go green underneath. So back to our 545. Sorry, it keeps going blurred, doesn't it? Yeah. So yes, it's so how I calculate how much to give is I look at the ink. I look at the what colour is this? I look at how much money I've made. That's too light. I'm going to use this really dark blue that we use for the book that our witch is sitting on. So the 528 for our ink bottle. Yeah, I look at how much money I've made through the adverts. This is purple. I've done it wrong. I've done it wrong. Need to use the swatch chart 569. Let's carry on with the 528, because if you've copied me, you will have a bit, and I don't think it's going to rub out. So I'm going to put it there and there, just roughly and quickly, and then we're going to go over it with what I hope is the right. Where's the right blue? 529. 529. Where are you? 529. There it is. I keep thinking it's black. Look how dark that is. Right. So I'm going to sharpen this and go over the top, and it should be absolutely fine. It'll just look a bit purpley. That's okay. I don't mind. Cover everything, because you don't really want it to look like there's any purple, but if it shows through, that's okay. But you want to cover it all. Am I making any sense? I really don't know if I am. Anyway, there we go. So there's our sort of the bottle full of ink, but this top part, this won't have ink in. It won't come right to the top. So this bit is glass. So we're going to use a light colour of grey, 564, to just make it look a little bit glassy. So we're going to put a bit on the edge there, fade it towards the middle. You can leave some white. I'm going to make it darker at the back, like that. It looks almost a bit metallic. And also our bits of feather, the sort of stalks of the feather. Some people call that the quill. I thought the quill was the whole thing, but maybe they're right. I don't. I've got no idea. So I'm using a grey. This is the 565. It's a little bit darker than the one we used for this bit. And put it on enough so you can see that it's a different colour to the bit down there. Now, the label of the ink bottle, we could leave it white, but I quite like to have it coloured. But what I really want is a very light blue. I'm going to use the 532. It's quite pale. I think it will work nicely. Like that, just a tad. I want to see the word. I want it to stand out. I just don't want it. I want it to stand out from the white background, because I still haven't decided if I'm going to colour in the background or not. So let's move along, and we've got a few books to do. She's full of spell books, this witch, isn't she? Now this one, what sort of colour? Well, I'm wondering whether to do a sort of orangey colour to balance out. We've got the orange pumpkins. But I want a darker, I don't have, I think 508 is the darkest I can go, really. So here it is, 508, we're going to use this. And we're just going to use it for the cover. So for this bit over the back, it's this layer here, just this outside here. Try and go to the end. I didn't. There we go. And then we've got this. The spine bit would be a little bit lighter, I think, because it's closer to the top where, you know, maybe the light source is coming from above. I always guess it is. It makes it easier. So I'm going to try and fade this upwards a bit. See how that looks. Just by layering it more at the bottom. Don't worry, I'm coming back. It's a bit messy, isn't it? It'll come. So I'm going to sharpen that and then really work it around a little bit. There we go. Yeah, my husband's waiting for a physiotherapy appointment on his tennis elbow. It's a bit of a long time coming, but I found this really great little app. I think I mentioned it before, which gives you can do exercises while you're waiting, you know, which is really good, but he hasn't got around to doing it. It's such an ADHD thing where I said, look at this, and he started, I said, it's really good, and he went through it, because you have to go through a series of questions and things like that first. I think I'm going to make these strap bits, I don't know what they are really, in a sort of brown colour. I think the 558 might be a good brown. Trying to find it. Yeah, there it is, I think. Yeah, 558, I don't know. And I'm just going to sort of block them in really. So yes, he found the videos, and he played one, and then some post arrived, and he got distracted, and that was the end of that. So I don't know whether there's actually much point in him going, because I don't know if he'll stick to the exercises, you know. But my son hasn't done his for ages either. But I'll have to ask him if he needs it, because the physiotherapist basically said to him that just keep it up. You know, he'd done various ones and they'd built up to a certain level of exercise. And he said to him, you know, if you don't keep up with it, you will notice, and then you will remember to do it again, sort of thing. And he hasn't, so I don't know. I'm going to use a really light yellow, I think, like a sort of creamy colour for the pages of the book. Here it is, I can't read that, 502 it is. Yeah. I'm not pressing very hard because I don't want it to be too dark. But because these pencils are hard, you can press a little bit. I'm going to have to go over them a bit, or else you won't see. Yeah, so I've done that. So 2 months to the same course, really. I don't know if I'll continue giving to them. But I feel like my son needs some help. His driving lessons are so expensive. £90 a lesson. He's been having 2 a week. And he's going back down to 1 a week because he's moved his test to March. If he's having 1 a week all the way to March, that is so much money. And I just don't know if he can actually afford it, if he's got enough money. I asked him and he said, I don't know, and he just hadn't checked. So I need to get him to check this afternoon, actually. This is 511 because he might need me to give him a loan or something, because he has his trust fund. He tied up for a year under my guidance and advice, so it's not his fault necessarily. We didn't think about how expensive these lessons would be. So yeah, his trust fund is tied up until September, so I might have to lend him the money until then. But he does see it as a good investment, the driving lessons. I was going to do a brown book, but that would be silly. It's always so hard, isn't it, to think of colours for books. Do you agree, or is it just me? We've done red. We could do a blue one. We haven't done a blue one, actually. Yeah, 530, that's a pretty blue. We do that one. 530. I'm going to sharpen it, though. Yeah, so, yeah, I feel... And I also feel like I want... Oh, I just broke my pencil. That's not good. Oh, the lead's gone on the table. Hang on a minute. Should be fine. I changed the blade in my pencil sharpener, so I guess it's just... I was actually really heavy-handed with it, and clumsy. There we go. It's sharpened up nicely. Yeah, Yeah, so I feel like I want to help him, but if I give him money, give his brother money too, and his brother's earning £1,000 a month, so he's got plenty of money. It's really hard, but I'll find out how much he's got available. But yeah, he sees it as a good investment for the future, even though he says he hates driving. He doesn't like it and he doesn't want to drive unless he has to. But I'm hoping that by March his confidence will be so much improved, and if he gets an automatic car, they're so much easier to drive. And he drove his dad's at the weekend and he definitely found it much easier to drive. Oh, need to do these. I'm going to do them in silver. What I tend to do with metallics is, the way I'm choosing is that a cold colour like blue I think goes better with silver, and then a warmer colour would go better with gold, in my opinion. But that doesn't mean you're necessarily going to agree with me, you know. We have a little cat here. We're going to do this next. Now, I've had a thought about the cat that we could do it black, you know, sort of Halloween-y, but the eyes, if we do the eyes black as well, we won't see them. So what we're going to do, I was thinking, could I do a red eye? It's a bit scary, and this isn't a scary page, so I decided not to do that. I just talked myself out of it just as I was talking to you about it. So I'm going to do the eyes first in the black, which is the 570. So black eyes. Oops, went right out of the line on both. There we go, black eyes. And we'll do little pink ears because it's cute. Is 516? Just looking. Yeah, 516 is a good colour. So we use that, 516 for the ear, inside of the ears, like that. And then I think if we do the cat in that sort of charcoal colour that I was using earlier, 569, got to find it, that's 529. There it is, 569. And then sort of start lightly in and sort of build up a bit of colour, then it might not look too black, but blackish. So I'm just going to put down a layer of my charcoal like that and see how we go, really. There we are. And then I'm going to outline the tail a bit just so it looks a bit more 3D. Looks quite flat at the moment, like that, and then just try and, oops, bring that towards the centre a bit so that we've got, it doesn't just look like a line. There we go. And do a similar thing with the face. So firstly with the ears, I'm going to make them darker at the bottom. You could make the tips darker if you'd rather. It was almost my instinct and then I went this way. It doesn't matter. And then a bit darker on the edge, sort of fading in towards the middle, just to make the head look a little bit more spherical rather than flat. There we go. Whoops. There it is. Now we have a couple of books. So the book behind the cat, there's a sort of, what colour are those colours? What's that one? I'm just looking at the number. Is that 524? That, yeah, I use this one, 524, for this book. It looks purple, but when it comes down, it's a pinky purple. I don't know if it's what we use for her dress, but I'm going to layer it up quite a lot, so it's quite intense. Quite nice for a book. Yeah, I'm on my own today, so I'm just making the most of the peace and quiet, really. Sounds a bit rude, doesn't it? But my son's coming home slightly earlier than expected. So husband and one son are at work, so they'll be back. Well, one will be back about 5:30. Husband won't be back until 8 o'clock. Yeah, he always works really late, and he's got a commute. Well, he hasn't got much. I mean, my son walks half an hour. My husband drives maybe 40 minutes. But, oh, he has a 20-minute walk, of course, to the car. Yeah. Yeah, because he's a contractor. Not that he's not an independent contractor who used to get paid millions. Well, not quite millions. But because his company contracts him out to another company, he's not allowed to park on site. I can't decide, gold or silver, gold or silver. I think silver, but you can choose what you want to choose. 572. Yeah, so he has a bit of a walk. I still can't work out what that is. Whether I should colour it in, and if so, how? Is it? I think it's a bit of branch. I'm just going to have a look at my notepad where I wrote down the colours that I used. And I'm just going to try and see if I noted down the colours that I did for the branches. 528. No, oh, 556 and 553. Not 553. Okay, I'm going to give it a go. So 553. That's really light. 556. And 519. No. Okay. So I'm going to use the 553 as the base. Is that what I did? Maybe. That looks too warm. And then the 556. 556. Still not quite right. What's the mint use a much darker one like 555? No. Oh well, I shall leave it like that. Right, the other book. We've got a pink one here, but it's got like blue and red. So we want something a little bit different. So we could go for a brown again. I'm thinking maybe, what's this colour? No. I'm trying to find one that doesn't look like the branches because we're right next to brown. 559, this is like a red. Just move my pad out of the way. 559, this will work. It won't get confused with the branch because it's a really different colour. Yeah, so my other son was supposed to be having a lecture this afternoon. It's been cancelled, so he'll be home mid-afternoon. Well, he finishes at 12:45, but he tends to have lunch and then miss the train and come a bit later so that he can enjoy his lunch slowly rather than having to scoff it down fast or eat on the train. But we'll see what he does. The trains are running again today, which is nice. We were told they wouldn't be running until lunchtime today. This is the gold for these bits. But they are running, so that's really good. Yeah, brilliant. Right, we are done with that little bit. We've got our bottom bit to do here. Now we've got these gemstones to do. We can decide whether to either do them all the same colour or all different colours. I'm wondering whether to do them black because it's Halloween, or whether to go purples, greens and red. I think I might do that. Purple, green and red. So my darkest purple first, which is 528. We've used it already. I've just got to find it. There it is. 528. We're going to start with this one down here. I'm going to just make it darker at the bottom of each little section and then fade it up like that. Just to make it look like there's some shadow. You can fade it a lot and then you get a good contrast between the light and dark colours, even leaving bits of white. For this top bit, I'm going to start in the corner. I'm going to fade it towards the middle like that to make it look like the light is just hitting that top edge. Oh, it's a train. There we go. So there is our first one. The second one, red, a dark red, 511. Looks like our most intense red. We've used it already. So I'm going to use 510, just so I use a different colour. I think a 511 was a book up there. So same sort of technique, deep at the bottom, so lots of layers to give an intense colour, and then less layers as we go up, and hopefully it will look like the light is catching it a little bit like that. And then we have this one, which I was going to do in a green. I think the 545 might be good, but we've used that already. What's the 542? Yeah, let's use the 542. Excuse me, it gives you a chance to see a different colour. So we go quite hard, lots of layers here, less up here. Same there. Less here. And then a bit of colour there with a line. Now, in order to make that look slightly more impressive, I get my black, which is 570. Give it a good sharpen. And we make some of the dark areas even darker with our black. So we just go along the bottom here. You don't want to put too much down. You don't want it to look, whoops, like there's a dirty streak. But it can just add more contrast between the dark and the light, which helps it to look more shiny. It's a bit trickier on the red because it will show up. You'll see there's black there. But it can just look like a bit of a shadow. Same on this one. Just apply it lightly. We can also put some white on there if we want to. I'm thinking I might not. I'm a bit worried that the white might bleed into the colours. I haven't tried that out yet to see if it does, so I think I'll just leave it. Now we have a spell book. We have a lot of pages in our book, and I'm a little bit torn as to what colour to do them. I'm going to have a look at my swatch to have a little think. I am going to go with a 552. Now this is quite a yellowy colour, goldy yellow. I'm going to put it on really lightly, in the way I might do it with a green gold on a book. So it looks like it's slightly old and sort of foxed, not so much foxed, just the pages get yellowed with age. Now I'm just putting a bit on like that. What happens when pages age is they tend to get darker in the corners. So I'm going to do that a little bit just to make it look a little bit more like that's the effect I'm trying to get. And there, look like that. I don't know if that works, but hopefully. Now we have stars and dots in our book. I'm going to go with a gold. Okay, now gold, some people are not a big fan of metallic pencils. I think it depends how, when and why you use them, whether they are effective or not. For me, in the book, I think it's perfectly fine. You might want to make your own gold using, you know, browns and ochres, or use a sparkly pen or a metallic pen to get more of a shine from your gold. It's up to you. Now we have two bottles to finish. Trying to have a little think. I think a sort of pinky potion might be nice. Ooh, do I go with that one? We've got this really bright pink, but we've used it actually. I might go with the 514, not be too daring. I'm going to put my potion all the way up to the edge, but we've got a little line here, can you see? And what I'm going to do is leave a bit of white beside it like that, as if we've got a bit of a shine on our bottle. Now the reason I'm not just putting a white pen on there is because I don't know if this pencil bleeds into white pen, and I haven't tested it. So I am going to not risk it and leave a space instead. It's also a method you can use if you don't own a white pen. So you just leave a white gap like that. I'm going to try and fade my pencil a little bit to the middle as well. It's turning out to be a bit more complicated than I thought, like that. There we go. Now our potion goes all the way to the top of the bottle, as you can see. Or it could be, this could be coloured glass. So you could either colour your neck of your bottle and your top as if they're just see-through glass, so with a sort of light grey, like we did for the top of the ink bottle. But I'm actually going to colour them as if this is a coloured glass, a toned glass sort of thing. I should have left a gap there and there. I can leave one here a little bit later, like that. But I forgot to do it there, but never mind. It is what it is. And might be darker under there. There we go. So there's our first bottle. Our second one has got what looks like a really different type of cork in it. This one I felt might be a cork in a glass cork, the same as the bottle. This one looks like it might be more of a sort of rubber bung cork type thing going on. So I'm going to grab the 557 and colour the cork very lightly in this colour, and then put some little dots on it if you can, because a cork has all sorts of different, cork has different colours in it. Okay, now the main bottle I thought I would colour with 562. Now this is a purpley colour, but it's placed amongst the browns. You can see it's a bit purpley. You may not be able to see it's a bit purpley actually. So let's make a start. I'm going to fade it to the middle. Use it on that edge. I can't leave a gap very well, it's too fiddly. Like that. Now we'll do this side first. Sort of fade it in a little bit towards the centre. Here would go like we did on the last one, on the outside of those black lines. And then when we go inside, we try and leave a gap, which I didn't successfully do there, but I did manage it on the bottom one. See how it's quite fiddly work, and fortunately I'm not a perfectionist, so I'm okay with it not looking quite right. Right? Is there a right? No, there's no right and wrong. Okay, we have labels. Now I'm thinking with this pink one, which is quite palish, we could do a dark label. So I'm just having a little look to see what I've got. Yeah, I've got a 512, which is quite a dark pink. So I'm going to use that. 512. I'm going to layer it up a bit so it looks significantly darker. It's quite a reddy pink, isn't it? There we go. This one I'm going to go lighter, so I'm going to look for a sort of light purpley pink. 523. So all we just used. No, I'm just trying to find it. I think I've used it. No, maybe I haven't. Where would it be? Oh, there it is. Still in the tin. 523. Look, it's got like a mauve end, but I think it's quite pinky. Just do it lightly. There we go. Right, now I'm just looking, and we have done every element. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stop the video, and I'm going to check whether I can use white pen anywhere and on what colours. So I'm going to do that first. So I'll be back. I'm going to put a white pen. What I'm going to do is get my swatch chart and put a white pen dot on every swatch, and then I'll come back and show you whether any of them are bled through or not. Right, I have done that and I have made discoveries. Now it's normally certain shades of pinky purple that bleed through. So the yellows and oranges and reds are all absolutely fine. This pink looks slightly dodgy, and this one, but I think they're okay. But down here, this one here has gone neon pink, as has this one at the top here as well. I don't know how easy it is to pick up on the camera, and the indigo blue colour has as well, that one there. There are, and this colour here. There are quite a few pencil sets that do this. Black Widows do, Prismacolor do, and a lot of other budget ranges do as well. So it's not something that I'm surprised about, but it means that I cannot put any white pen on this page because I don't know what colour I use for what, and therefore I could be risking getting that sort of effect. However, what we can do is what I'm going to do, you can't see the whole picture, hang on, there we go. To finish, I'm not actually going to do a background. I've decided that during the course of the colour. What I think I would do if I was going to do one is behind our witch, I would do a silver sparkly pen. And I will probably just do it everywhere, underneath as well. But I'm not going to do one. I don't really think it's necessary, but we do have a few little magical dots around the edge, so I'm going to do those, and I'm going to use a sparkly pen. I think only magic needs to be sparkly, and we can choose any colour. I'm having a look, I'm thinking, well, Halloween, we've got orange, which I think I might go for. I think I am. I'm going to go for orange, but you can go for any colour. You don't have to keep all the dots the same. You can add more dots. You know, it's just whatever you feel works. But I'm going to colour in the dots that are there first, and then decide if I want to do any more. I think I will probably just leave it as it's been drawn and trust that Agotapop, you know, she knows what works. So there is our picture all finished. I've had lots of fun colouring this cute little page. And I hope that you have enjoyed it as well. Tomorrow I have got something else planned that again isn't really Halloweeny, but it could be. So, you know, hopefully you'll like it. For a new little series, I think 2 days, and then we go to our next planner. The weeks go by fast, don't they? Don't they ever? Anyway, thank you for watching. I do hope you enjoyed this little series. Yeah, thank you, and have a super duper day and happy colouring.